Okay, I would like to give you the solution of the first assignment. Okay? Now, there is a great noise. So, uh, the first exercise. The first exercise. Yeah, you have to prove that you suppose that E is about, let E is a norm vector space. E is a norm vector space, and M is a closed subspace of E. Yeah? Is a closed subspace of E. That means that M is contained in E. Which is not necessarily equal to E. It's contained in E. Okay. Yeah, we can put the M is equal to E is travel. So we suppose M is not equal to E, is contained strictly in E. Then that means that there is S1 which is not which is here and not in E. Okay, I don't know if I put the S1 or S3, yeah, S1. There is S1 which is an element of E, but S1 is not an element of M. And I put D, the distance of S1 to M. I call it D. This D is necessarily greater than 0 because S1 is not in M. Like this. It is this is not in M, but this kind of course is strictly. And for all A, we put all A here, which is all A in the element of 0, 1, like this. You can D, you can compare D over A. Necessary might be greater than D. Then you have this from here, you have the infimum of the distance S1 minus M. When M is the element of this is less than D over A, like this. The infimum is less than D over M, like this. Then you can get another M which is inside that you have this condition. Then there is this X0 in M such that you have the norm of L1 X0 minus beta than less than D over A, like this. You have this kind of. Okay, let's put now. Let's set quelque chose, set XA is equal to X1 minus X0 and the norm of S1 minus X0. You have this. So then the norm of SA is equal to 1. And if you compute the norm of X minus SA, if you compute it, it's exactly the norm of X, the S minus S1. SA is like this, S1 over S1 minus S0 like this. And also plus X0 over S1 X0. You have this condition, which is also equal to, I can continue there. I can put outside 1 over the norm of this. So the norm of X SA is equal to 1 over the norm of S1 F0 and we take after the norm of x1, x0, and x minus minus x like this, minus s1 plus x0. This kind of notation. Now let's say that you say that this is the element of x is the element of m, and also here the element also of n. Then this one is greater than d. Then this one is greater than d over the norm of s1 over this one, because here and here the sum is element of here and here is element of n. This one is not element of n. Then this one is greater than d over this condition, which is here greater than d. We proved already that this is already less than d over a. Then this one is greater than d over a, which is equal to a. Then you have result. Then the norm of x minus sa is greater than a. What you are going to prove. That is called the first exercise. Very, very simple. The second exercise exercise 2. Exercise 2, what is what is the question? We say that exercise 2 x0 element of e, and say that x0 is not equal to 0. You have to prove that there exists u linear continuous in continuous form, say that you have this condition, say that u of x0 is equal to the norm of x0, and the norm of u0 is equal to 1. Or let us prove it. Okay, let's just put d like r0 like this. Let's just suppose that d like this. Let's set d equal to r x0. R x0 like this. And which is a subspace, a sub-vector space of your vector space E like this. So you define a map u like this. U of t f0, you define that it is equal to t, the norm of f0. This is a map, the linear map on E. This on D is linear. U is linear. Linear in the theorem of Rad-Banach is satisfied. This one is linear and satisfy the two conditions. If you take the norm of this, you have this condition, the two conditions. Also, you can apply the Rad-Banach theorem to conclude after. You have this. So then you have u of x like this. U. Okay, precisely linear continuous. Continuous map. Linear continuous map like this. and u of x0 is exactly x0, which is also this one is all the same. To prove it, to prove this, to prove the second, you have to prove to compute u of tx is like this. U of x for all x in D. U of x, if I take the norm, is exactly the norm of x0 like this, which is equal to also the norm of t x0, which is equal to the norm of x. Then the norm of u is already less than 1. Then if there exists a k, say that you have u of k is less than k, s like this, it will be not possible. If suppose that k less than 1, it's not possible. Then necessary, because not possible, because the norm of u of x is already equal to the norm of x. Then necessary the norm of u is necessarily equal to 1. If the norm for u is equal to 1, use now we can extend this to d to e now, and you have the solution. Then from Banach's Banach theorem, we can extend u to r to e like this, and denoted by u0. Then you have for thanks to the Banach theorem, you have also the same. You have the norm of u0 is equal to 1. And also u0 of this is equal to this, because the restriction of t is the same. But you take the u, when you compute here, you took your u0 of x, here is exactly the u0, the restriction to our d. You have the same result for this. So u0 of also x0 is also equal to the norm of s. When you extend it, when I do this will in the extent to of j, if you like j, in j the same are equal. So why this one is equal for u0, because x0 is element of your d. x0 element of d. Then f of x0, u of f0 is exactly u0 of x0. You have this condition. So what is function? Then here I repeat again. If there is k less than 1, say by this condition, you can have this result after. You can have this. So you can get k less than 1, say you have this condition. That was the condition, because you have this result. So necessarily u of what is necessarily equal to 1. Okay, thanks. Okay, we say that from Banach theorem, you can extend u like u0, say that you have this condition. And what to prove now, if this space spirits the point of E, the real E spirits the point of E. Let us look here now. From the previous question, we proved already that if we have x0 which is not equal to 0, there is u such that u of x0 is equal to x, the norm of x0. Now, let us suppose let us take two elements for all x, y, element of E, such that x is not equal to y. like this. Then s minus y is not equal to 0. Then you are the resist u with the element of this. Set that u0 like this, set that u0 of s minus 1 must be not equal to 0. Then u0 of x different to u0 of y. What we are going to prove? That means that u0 separates the point of E. Then E separates the point of there is issue in E star side that you have this condition. Okay, thanks. Now you are going to prove the third question. The third question states that when you have something like that, when you take x which is not equal to 0, you take x0 which is not element of m, we are going to prove that there exists u0 which is the element of the dual such that you have this condition u0 of m is equal to 0 and u0 of x0 is not equal to 0. Okay, so we have this condition. How can I prove it? Let us suppose that let's set this map from E into the Gaussian space of M. We say that first of all, M here is a closed subspace of E. Is a closed subspace of E. Then this Gaussian space is also a normal vector space. Yeah, this was. No, I will put it like I like this. It's like that for element here you have the I of x, which is just the class of x like this. Okay. And the norm of x can be written like this. When you take the norm of I of x, it's exactly the norm of x plus m, which is the norm of the class of x, which is the infimum of the norm of this x plus m when m element of m at the definitive of the norm of this Gaussian space. Now, since E is the limit of since 0 is the limit of m, then you have the norm of x, that this is less than x, the norm of x. Then the norm of I is less than 1. This kind of awesome. Next, now we are going to prove that you know that I of m must be equal to 0, but it is equal to 0 because m is this kind of quotient space. You have these conditions. It's equal to 0. Okay. Now, what these conditions is equal to 0, which is not equal to 0. This count, and x of and I of x0 will be equal to the x0, not only that it's x0 plus m you say that it is not, if you descend to the class of 0, because x0 is not an element of, of x, you have this one, so this one is not equal to 0. Then if what you are I of x0 is not equal to 0, from the equation 2, that means that the resist u, which is the element of the dual of this, such that you have this condition. I repeat again, x0 is not in M. Then this class line is not distant to M, not distant to a class 0. From here, it's distant to a class 0. From here, there exists u, which is given such that you have this condition, such that u of u of this kind of field you can put a u of I of x like this must be equal to the norm, the norm of I of x. Like this. For the previous question, you have this condition. And this kind of u here is a mark from here. What is the meaning? Yeah, is this one is not equal to 0? The u is not here, but is the quotient space, the dual of this quotient space. Because here I of x0. Here you are in the quotient space. Then there's u, which is the element of the dual of this quotient space. This quotient space, such that you have this condition u of I of x0 must be equal to the norm of x of x0. You're using the previous question. Sorry. Using this one, you are this set. Okay, from here, what am I going to do? Okay, let's put now. Let's take the u0 of x equal to u of x of x like this. It will be this one. And you have all the conditions. You have u of x0 of m must be equal to 0. And u of x is also not equal to 0. At this, what we are going to prove. It is all. Okay. So it is the third equation. So I remember you saying that you want to do this one, because when you say that the previous question that if you have x0 which is not equal to 0, you can get a linear form so that the image it might be equal to this one, which is not necessarily equal to 0. So you have this condition. Because this here for here is m, not necessarily equal to this one is 0, and m this one also equal to 0. Okay? Now, what is the question you need again? Yeah, you solved already this. Yeah, okay. And what we just say? Okay. The third question, the fourth question now. What is the fourth question? Let me see. Yeah, you say that x0 is like this. You say x0 in E, such that what? The question, fourth question. You say that you take x0 element of E, such that the distance of x0 to M is equal to D, it is not negative. You understand? So you have to prove that there exists u, which is an element of the dual of E, like this, such that you have this condition, such that for u u of 0 is equal to m of m is equal to 0, and also u of x0 is equal to d here, and the second, and we have to prove that the norm of u0 must be equal to 1. And what we are going to prove is that the equation of this part of you have to prove. You take x0 here, take the distance here is d, it is not equal to 0. And then you have to prove that there exists u0, which is dual of here, so you have the three conditions. This is the last question of the first exercise. Last question of the first exercise. Okay, and now suppose that you put here u like this. You take u. Let us suppose m. You put m like k like this. K x0 plus m. I define m like this, which is just this here in the subspace, is a closed subspace. Is a closed of E. This condition, it is a closed subset of E. Now we are going to prove this the three condition. And you say that if we take any y, any element of m, y can be written like this: lambda x0 plus m like this. Getting it plus m or plus x if you want. I can put plus s of s in the same. Okay, get that put plus x here. Where s here is the element of m. We can use it like this. And we can prove also that this decomposition is unique. This decomposition or representation is unique. I mean that you have the two positions like this: lambda x0 plus x, which is equal to lambda prime x0 plus s prime like this. You have that mean that you have lambda prime x0 might be equal to s prime minus s like this. This kind of condition. That makes sense. And you know already that this one is the element of m. Then necessarily x0 is the element of m, which is a contradiction. Because if this one is m, this is not one necessary, that means that x0, because this one is a scalar, that means that necessarily x0, which is the condition between that x0 is not the element of x. Because you suppose here that x0 is not the element of if you show that this x0 is the element of f. Okay, then we can define a map like this. We can define a map G like this. J from M into the basis field of K like X of map such that you have for all X here or for all Y here I can associate lambda B. Because the decomposition is unique. That means that if you take element there, there is a unique lambda in case I value this condition. So I can define the map from D to the basis field, like that Y I take this kind of map. Like that G of Y will be equal to lambda D. And you have this kind of map. So we can prove also that this one is the element is linear and continuous. First of all, it's just a linear. G is linear. It's all the linear. Because it's continuous. Also, you have to prove that you have to compute the norm of this. So we just compute the norm of this element. If you compute it, I know already that when you have y here, y, the norm of y is equal to the norm of lambda x0 plus x here. You have this position. From here, you have this is just equal to lambda. I can put lambda outside and lambda like this, the norm of this, and I put inside minus x0 minus x over lambda. Suppose that lambda is not equal to 0, like this condition. From here we have this. That means that you have what? That means that you have this condition. That means that you have the norm of this, which is this one, which must be greater than you have the norm of lambda with the infimum. And I can tell you, I can put it directly. The norm of lambda. You should know that this is the m, it's the limit of m. That means that this one is necessarily bigger than x0. X0, yeah, distance of x0 to m. So this one is bigger than this. No, this one is bigger than the distance of x0 m like this. It's bigger than which is equal to our d. So you have the lambda like here, and d is the position, which is exactly u, the norm of u of, but you are going to g, you can put the g of y. Then we can conclude that from here, we can conclude that you have this one. Then g of y is less than the norm of y. If you see correctly here, you have d like this, d of y, which is different. You saw this one is equal to d, you have this condition. So that means that the norm of d is less than 1. Okay. But now let us prove that the norm of d is bigger than 1. But how can I prove it? If you prove it, it will be odd. And you use after one of the current of Banach, the Banach theorem, to conclude. Because J is a linear form on the subspace. This one is a subspace of E. This is linear, which verify this condition. There exists a linear map, a linear form, which is the extension of G, so we verify the same condition. So if you start to prove that D, the norm of D is equal to 1, it will be odd. Okay. Let's not prove that the norm of D is equal to 1, it will be odd. Okay, that's how can we prove it? So the norm of D, you suppose that D is what? D is the infimum of the norm of x plus this m. Where m is the limit of m. Now that is for m. It is the limit of this term that is x0. Okay. So you can prove that D must be equal to, for Ns, you have this condition. Using the definition of the infimum of this, that means that for all epsilon, that means that for all epsilon positive like this, you can get a x element of m such by this condition, the norm of x plus okay, so the only m, which the distance is from where? Is from x0. Yeah, this one is x0. The s, that the norm of x0 plus x like this must be less than this condition. Must be less than d plus epsilon. Using the characterization of infimum of some space. You have this. Now the resist is like this, that you have this condition. So let us put now z. Let us consider z, which is the x0 plus x over the norm of x0 plus x like this. You suppose this condition. We say already that the norm of z is equal to 1. And just what is equal to 1. And you can put it like this. Z can be written like this form. x0 1 over the norm of x0 plus x like this. You are here plus something plus x over the norm of x0 plus x. This is an element of M, because x is an element of M. This one is an element of M. This one is an element of M. And this x0 here. So when we compute the image of the z, it just less than this one by d. Then the image u, we can put the d of z must be just equal to 1 over the norm of x0 plus x like this, multiplied by d. We can get this condition. Because d like this, the map is d of why the sum. This one, if you compute this, is like you have x0, this one is our lambda. x0 lambda plus x. x0 lambda plus x. The image by d is a lambda by d. You get me? Like this condition. Yeah, now you use the fact that this condition, you divide x0 plus s is less than d plus epsilon. Then you have this one, the norm of d of z like this must be greater than d by the d plus epsilon. This condition. When we take the epsilon to infinity, we try to see what's happening. When epsilon tend to 0, not infinity, tend to 0, we have this condition. We have the norm of z like this, as z equal to bigger than d over d, which is equal to d. If you take the supremum of this for this uniball, this one is exactly the norm of d, which is that greater than 1. That's all. So using the fact that the norm of d is already less than 1, and the norm of d is also bigger than 1, that means that the norm of d is equal to 1. And you use the Hahn-Banach theorem to extend J to a function which is R. Then there exists F1, which is an element now for the dual, this condition, such that you have this concept that the norm you say that you call it u here. Okay, let us talk about u. Yeah, u0 like this, such that the norm of u0 equal to 1, and verify all the conditions you got. The condition you have to prove, that means that you have to prove that u of m is also equal to 0, u here of m must be equal to 0, because m here, when you have any m here, or you have an element of m, y, which is the element, which is like this for lambda d plus something on m. You can just in m, that means that lambda is equal to 0. Then is equal to 0. This one is lambda is 0 for lambda. This u for any m here is lambda, which is 0, 0 divided by d, so equal to 0 for all m in m. For m, when you give m in m here, the image by your map is 0 for by d, which is equal to 0. Is why you have this condition. Because from here, the image of a y exactly lambda log here is not d by x0. The image of here is actually lambda for by lambda by x0. So you have this condition. So you have lambda is 0 here, not d by x0. Then x0 that we solve. So which is equal to 0. You have this condition. The y is exactly equal to 0. I repeat it again. The map like this, I will map D, map M into the basis field. I repeat it again for you. Such that you have y is like this for lambda x0 plus m. The image is lambda d. Is all. The image is lambda d. So the image is lambda d. So we have this condition here. If we are just m here, that means that our lambda is equal to 0. The middle is 0 by d. What I mean here? 0 by d. Yeah, it is okay. 0 by d. 0 by which is that's exactly this one. Is 0 by d, which is equal to 0. And the image of m is equal to 0. Though then is for all m here, the image must be necessarily equal to 0. U of 0 of the capital M is equal to 0. It's what you are looking for. Okay, thanks.